Recording has begun. All right. So thank you all again for joining me here. We are back with the Abyssal London playtest. I am Ash Cheshire. I am one of the two designers along with Laura Turner, and I am GMing for this playtest. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves? We can go, I always get this wrong. Nope, that way. We can go clockwise.
I am Josie, season pronouns, playing Xandra Wood. She pronouns when she's not masquerading as a male cop.
Nice.
I am Volcanic Ash, they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Reggie Hardy, he, him pronouns in the game. And yeah, changeling, doing all sorts of fun stuff. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Williams, and I'm playing Terrence Beecham, Viscount Cross, using the Bitten playbook here in the London playtest. I use he, him pronouns, and so does Lord Cross.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. All right. So, feel free to add to this any other things that you all remember or things that you definitely want to have kind of fresh in the air as we move forward. But at the end of last session, our characters had all gathered at their base of operations, the apartment in Hyde Park, to compare notes on some things that all of you had gathered information about in various ways. And the conclusion of that was to decide to follow a lead that was brought to your attention through Viscount Cross, through your street urchin that you have gotten into cahoots with. I was going to say befriended, but that's probably a bit strong for the relationship at the moment.
Really, you've employed him,
but who you've basically intimidated / employed, and who very quickly jumped enthusiastically into this exciting adventure, codenamed Tupper. Tupper very much enjoys this gig that he has landed. And he informed you when you met up with him at a pub for a clandestine meeting where he conned some food out of you, that he had overheard Barnabas, which you had asked him to follow the man who y'all have already identified as someone who has been maybe assisting, maybe confounding the police investigation into the Lord Cross Senior's murder. And that Barnabas had been overheard saying that he wanted to get into what Tupper had heard as some icky rats, which Cross was able to decode and determine was actually a reference to the high society Club Icarus, which is a very fancy hoity-toity club for the cream of the social crop in London at this time, at least in our London. Is there any other details that any of you remember or want to bring in immediately? Well, of course, we'll weave other things back in.
I do believe that we are also still trying to determine what other avenues may lead us to information about the death of Lord Cross.
Absolutely, yeah. The big open lines of question right now are, there's a lot of weird stuff going on around that murder investigation. It ties into some other things that, because of where it happened and also now who's involved, it seems to possibly also tie into some other Whitechapel stuff, tying back in possibly to the Ripper murders, which have kind of taken a little bit of a back seat right now. He hasn't been very active for the moment, but that doesn't make it better. And then also all of it tying in with the overarching team goal of wanting to protect more of the orphans in this neighborhood, and Okay. Josie needs to AFK for a second. Or might need to, and that's totally fine.
Would you? I know we're recording. Would you want to just pause for a minute, or shall we keep?
I don't know if I can do that. I think I can just end a broadcast, so it'll be fine. It's
all right. Very
no
good.
problem. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if only I had such controls, but I don't think StreamYard does that.
Well, we get what we pay for. I'm sure StreamYard is fantastic. Thank you, guys.
I also found out today that they delete recordings after 15 days, which I didn't know. Fortunately, Laura had downloaded a local copy of our previous session, which is why it just went up on YouTube today. So yeah, we're learning how this software works.
We're learning how it works. There we go.
Yeah, so that kind of catches us up on that.
Shyla was able to give us some information on missing memories.
Mm-hmm.
Having to do with the pollution.
Yeah. Shyla brought in a connection to the man in the yellow mask, which has come up in a couple of different ways here. He seems to maybe have information about how one might go about targeting specific memories and befuddling or straight up erasing them from people. And Scully seemed to have possibly been targeted by that when he was trying to talk about Barnabas specifically. It got a little repetitive and strange. Yep, indeed. Let's see. Some other things that happened last time. Cross managed to truly supernaturally both attend a formal Lord's dinner and meet up with Tupper. And so seemed at the moment at least to have avoided the fork of the hard choice. And surely there will be no unforeseen consequences from that.
Surely there will be nothing of the sort. So, surely there will be nothing of the sort.
Thank you. And I can remind us of some of the loose ends that I have in my notes while we wait for Josie to return. Let's see. Scully was actively was told to stop actively investigating, and had been put on desk duty the last time that Xandra talked to him. So there's influence higher up in the police force, it would seem, that are interfering with the investigation. Scully also saw Xandra in girl mode and seemed confused, and they haven't spoken since then, so it's unclear what, if anything, he may have gleaned from that. The golden pocket watch that Cross reported as a distraction, the watch that Cross Sr. Was known to always have on him, but was not recovered among his effects, and not mentioned in the murder report. We also have the other missing dueling pistol. One of them was still at the manor. It had a what seems to be half of a key that was hidden in its trigger mechanism. Mm-hmm. But the second pistol has yet to resurface. There was the report that came in to the owners of the stable where Reggie has grown up, after a pre-game tussle occurred there, and Reggie decided to go and meet with Shyla instead of trying to deal with the hoity-toity guy who sent a threatening letter to the house after the so-called attack in the stables. Mostly his ego was bruised, but he's kicking up a fuss.
As those hoity-toities tend to do.
They sure do. Sorry about that. And we
Not
still
your fault.
have...
It's not like you set it off.
Unless you did.
And we still have the upcoming dinner that Lord Dorval has invited Cross to, where the letter indicated that Cross was going to be expected to prove himself in some way that is as yet undefined. And so that is still up and coming. We're trying to figure out where our food delivery is. That's what's going on in the background here.
Understandable. That's certainly not something that you want to have serious questions about. You want to just know where it is.
Yeah. All right. So those are the kind of top level loose ends and things that I have. And we will hold. If y'all want to, let's see, did we do downtime for you all after the end of the previous mission?
I do not recall.
Take a look at your advancements. We should have...
Oh, maybe we did. Since when you said the word advancements, something ticked in my head. Let's see here. We should have... Go ahead. I interrupted
I think one, because we've done one mission so far, right? No, we've done two. So there should be 2 of your advancements on your play sheets checked off by now.
I have one advancement.
All right. Well, why don't you both take a look, and you can choose a second advancement. And if you have any stress, you can go ahead and reduce it by your defined shreds. And I will be right back.
Very good. Okay, I'm still trying to make sense of this character sheet. Where am I going to find stress? Oh, I suppose I can just do a Control F, find. There it is. I have 2 stress, so I can reduce that stress to 1. Or I could define some more shreds, but I don't think I'll do that yet. So what are you thinking of for your second advancement?
My second advancement. I don't know. Let's see. I already gained a dot in prowess because of doing my little shit delivery to the bar. I learned that I should not be doing such deliveries in the daylight.
Well, my first advancement was... Let's go back and take a note here. My first advancement was buying a new special ability.
All right.
Let's see here. Ooh, maybe we'll look at faction benefits. Some of the faction benefits are kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the wolfish. Josie was just biting into a beef jerky stick. It had a very wolfish kind of look to it. Josie, I've got the other 2 players taking a look at advancements, since we forgot to do advancement for downtime after the manor mission. So go ahead and take a look at the advancements on your play sheet. There should be a checklist of them, and you can choose a second one. You should have one already, so you can go ahead and choose a second one.
I didn't forget.
Oh, well.
I took
all
my
right.
advancement.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't have one from the first mission, so I took that.
Excellent.
I have gained a dot in prowess and resolve.
Excellent. And you checked boxes off of your advancement checklist on the play sheet? Cool.
I decided to take a insight dot, and I increased scrutinized 2.
Nice.
I was about to do just that, but I have suddenly come over the need to do something different.
Well,
So tell me about what happened with Reggie at the manor that taught him better scrutinizing skills, or led him to believe that it's something he needs to pay more attention to. And my other 2 players, I'll have you justify your advancements as well, so you can start thinking about that. I'm not just putting Volcanic in the hot seat for fun. Well,
Oh,
it is for
God.
fun, but it's not just them. And while Ash is thinking, if the other 2 of you have any thoughts about your advancements and how the manor experience influenced that, feel free to hop in.
sorry, I totally just got distracted by Merlin. What am I supposed to be
Totally fine.
considering?
Oh, I was just asking, for what happened in the mission that led Reggie to get this improved scrutinizing ability.
Oh, I see. The which mission precisely?
This would be an advancement from the mission out to Cross Manor.
Okay.
I'm going to also increase my I'm going to spend this advancement to increase my prowess.
Mm-hmm.
And the prowess action I'm going to increase is steer. I had considered pursue or grapple, but I think that bringing steer up is a worthy thing. And I was thinking that so far, anyway, at the party, I have recognized that I need to become a little more capable of moving the pieces in the party the way that they need to go.
Nice.
Social chess, as it were.
Yeah. And very vampiric way of looking at it, too.
Okay. I'm going to say Reggie got an additional dot in scrutinized from the manor mission because of his need to ask questions of the staff and get them to speak of things maybe they didn't want to. Perhaps a little bit of skill using infatuation as an in.
Absolutely. And what was Xandra's advancement? You're still muted. I'm gonna unmute you real quick. Oh.
Gonna go with Beguile. Watching and learning from the master, Reggie.
Excellent. All right, very good. Were there any other downtime actions that anybody wanted to take? I believe your base of operations gives you a cumulative extra 2. And if you look at the quick reference, there are some downtime actions that you can choose from. Does anybody have any stress remaining that you might want to indulge in your abyssal nature to bring it down?
I've brought mine
Sure.
down to the 1, so I think I'm okay for now. Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead, Sandra, you were saying.
Do you still have some stress, Sandra?
Yeah.
So,
So
did you reduce it by your number of defined shreds?
we're doing downtime again.
Not again, but just wrapping it up. So if you already did that,
I didn't do it with the rules change. But wait, I think all
yeah,
the
I think we
stress.
did it. I think we did it the old way for you last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm only dropping it one by one because I think I gained 2
Okay.
since our downtime last time.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep better track of this because it is technically my job. So, excellent. All right. Okay. So, shall we start preparing for the mission? Cool. All right. I'm just going to mute you real quick, Josie, so that I don't get my own echo. All right. So, preparing for the mission to the Icarus Club. So it is. The club itself is well known enough that you know physically where it is. Getting inside is going to be a slightly different matter. What's your plan for getting in? It's a it's a high society club, so they have staff at the door whose job it is to make sure that the right people are inside the club and the wrong people stay outside of the club.
Well, naturally, I'm going to don my extravagant outfit so that I can
Totally.
actually be let in.
Absolutely.
Maybe scrub some of the dirt off my cheeks.
It's probably a good idea.
Oh, probably still smell like manure, but what are you going to do?
Literally, what are you going to do? Okay. Let me just pull up your base of operations information because I believe y'all took. Let's see. Oh yeah, you have the valet and cook. All right, so yeah, so unfortunately, I don't see any city assets that you have yet that'll be able to help you a whole lot with passing as higher status. Reggie has his fine clothes and potential glamour to help him. Cross, you've
And
got
false
your
papers.
false papers. Perfect. Cross, you've got your status and standing working for you.
You are recognized as one of the elite hoity-toities.
Xandra, what's your plan? Or the rest of the team? How can you help get Xandra in the door with you?
Kick rocks, I guess.
Oh.
I can conjure another outfit. But it melts after an hour.
Okay. Sort of a Cinderella effect.
Yeah.
Do they let fancy dogs in? Could pretend to be someone's dog. Might not be a good idea, though. I don't know how well
love
they handle it.
But
I don't think they had emotional support animals back then, but maybe you could pass off as Lord Cross's special, fancy, elite, hoity-toity emotional therapy wolf.
The Victorians in our world certainly did have affectations of small dogs, but are you going to be willing to become like a little lap dog?
What is Lord Cross compensating for by having such a huge wolf?
This enormous wolf dog.
It's more about am I able more than willing. Yeah, melty magic clothes. Sure. I guess my dress uniform, this is probably not a fancy dress uniform that I really have. Or not fancy enough anyway.
I think the problem is not so much that it's not fancy.
Solidly in the middle class.
Yeah, and they're not. I don't think that the club is looking to allow uniformed members of the constabulary inside.
How dare you calling me middle class?
Unless you show up saying that you're there in some sort of professional capacity, in which case, yeah, you might be able to get in, but you're going to draw a lot of attention to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Magic melty clothes.
All right.
I have checked the magic melty clothes checkbox in my character sheet.
Excellent. All right, so I assume you'll probably do that shortly before arriving to get yourself maximal time. So I'll just I'll sort of start the GM 1 hour timer when you all enter the club. You know, as soon as you're sort of within visual range.
Dip into an alley.
So it sounds like the plan is to just roll up looking like 3 very fancy people out for a good time. Cool. All right. So as just a quick reminder, anytime during a mission, if there's something that you want to say you did or prepared in advance that doesn't break the established reality of the scene, you can always call for a flashback. If it's something that would have been, easy for you to set up ahead of time, I'll let you do a flashback with rolls to see if you can accomplish that for free. If it's something that would have been a little bit trickier to set up, there may be a stress-related cost. I'll have you take some stress in order to trigger a flashback. But the nice thing about that is it allows us to, apart from just sort of planning literally how you're going to approach the mission, we can just kind of hop on in, and any clarifying things we can figure out once you realize that you wish you had them. In addition, just as a reminder, you have your gear, which is currently undefined, so you get to choose items from your own gear and or from the city playlist gear. Again, it's a limited number of things that you have on you, but you don't have to define what those are until you wish that you had it in your hand. So just taking a look at those again, the ones that your personal character sheet provides you, and then the city playlist ones, if there are things that you want to do where you feel like it would be nice to have some sort of prop in order to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so with those things being said, we will do an engagement roll to see how y'all roll up to the club and how it responds to you. This will set the general tone of the evening and will also define if things go badly, how badly, if things go well, how well, in general. Let's see, who wants to roll the engagement roll for us? We'll do... You get 1 die for free. I'm going to give you a second die for Lord Cross as a genuine toff. And I'm going to give you a third die because Reggie and Xandra are both looking literally glamorous. Are there any other factors working in your favor that you think you could finagle another die out of me for? All right, 3 it is.
Yeah, it's got to be 3.
Yep. All right, who wants to do that roll?
I will.
Thank you.
I've got 3 dice right here.
Beautiful. 3d6. Let's see what you get.
I roll 3d6, and they land, and we look at them, and I see a 2, a 4, and a 5.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take that 5. It is a mixed success, but that sets you up pretty nicely. All right. So, tell me about your approach. I will describe the front. You see, there's it has a beautiful facade. It's in a very nice part of town. How do you all arrive?
I believe we arrive by the coach in 4 that I hired for the occasion.
Very cool.
Oh, sweet. Then we can use the coach to dress up Xandra in her new
Absolutely.
fancy dress.
Absolutely. You can do your glamour in the car.
Yeah.
Does 5 mean we're desperate, in a desperate position when we arrive?
I was just pulling that up. Yes, you are in a desperate position.
'Cause I think maybe what happens at the door is someone tries to, I don't know, take Sandra's hat or coat or something, and she goes, "Get off! Lay off!"
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Hold on.
I think I may well try to distract from Xandra's. I can't
So
think of the word.
before we define that further, actually a 5 gets you a risky position with standard effect.
Okay, risky standard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the engagement rolls we have on the quick reference, you can see under engagement rolls, we have it broken out a little bit differently than usual standard and effect roll. So so a 4 or 5 gets you a risky position with standard effect. So that's it's not the best, but it'll be all right. So do you still want to have Xandra have a moment of difficulty at the door, or was that to add to
That was for more of a
for the engagement roll match?
yeah.
Okay.
So I think it'd
Okay.
be just a little bit more, just generally snarly.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Cross, do you still want to respond to the?
No, I don't think so. I think that if it's just snarly, I might presume that when offered to or when asked to take the coat or the hat, they may have been snarly, and do they just does Xandra then continue to wear an overcoat into the party?
Maybe not. If Lord Cross maybe nudges, or she might get the hint.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will. Elaborately, remove my own coat and hat, and work to be extra gracious to the porter, as an example.
Nice. And how do the other two who are unfamiliar with this kind of situation, how do you two respond?
I'm gonna bow as deeply as I can bow,
Nice.
and if I'm wearing a hat, tip the hat.
Very nice. Okay, so yeah, the porter at the door, you rolled up in a very nice carriage. You got a risky but standard effect on your engagement roll. So the bow gets a little bit of sort of like, oh, these eccentric riches. Kind of a very subtle little sort of like from the porter, but nothing suspicious about your right to be here. Just like, oh, it's one of these. Okay. Okay.
Hopefully they don't breathe too deeply. They might catch a whiff of something they don't like.
It's entirely possible.
Do Xander's coat and hat mysteriously vanish when the porter turns his back after putting them up?
Tell me about your glamour, Reggie. If the clothes last for an hour, I feel like that's enough of a limitation on them.
I'm not sure where to find further information on that particular skill. So
that was because there is none.
Okay.
That was really more a request for what do the players find interesting.
Oh, okay.
I could have worded that better. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I think that the glamour of the clothing, it'll last an hour regardless if it's in our possession or not. Some of the other glamour type of skills that I can do, it does depend on whether or not you put it down and leave it alone.
Sure.
But since you're putting down and putting the coat into a place where all these other coats and shit are, you're not necessarily leaving it alone. So it's not like it's like, if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound?
Since it's still behaving as a coat.
Yeah.
It's still there behaving like a coat even when you're not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it'll only do it for an hour.
Right. But like
Excellent.
if I did actually, conjure up a tree and we went away, it'd disappear.
Okay. Excellent. Let me just get back over to my notes. Excellent. So, you all, you come in. Lord Cross, are you kind of leading the way as the one who is most familiar with these kinds of scenarios?
Yes, indeed, I am.
So, as you come in, it is one of the nicer places that you, Lord Cross, have been. This is probably the most opulent place that Xandra and Reggie have ever been. Especially as guests. Xandra, you may have like investigated places that are, extremely opulent and wealthy in your professional capacity, but this is a whole other ballgame. There are people in all kinds of not just formal dress, but even what the Victorians would call fancy dress. People are in these lavish kind of costumes and things. There's dancing going on that looks to be both complicated and extremely formalized. There is live music being played by a chamber orchestra. There are circulating staff who have trays that are filled with just delicious looking and smelling tiny foods. There is, champagne flutes everywhere, crystal chandeliers, extravagant gilded art on the walls. This is, and it's all in a sort of pseudo Roman Greco kind of style to go along with the Icarus name. There's a lot of wings on things. The ceiling is painted as a dazzling summer sky with a blazing sun centered above the central chandelier, and a winged figure can be seen painted flying towards it. on the ceiling.
Oh, check it out, Reg. They got curtains that don't even cover windows, just over a wall.
What a bunch of tools. I mean, I imagine Lord Cross would be like tut-tutting us. Shush, children. Even though I'm probably technically older.
Almost certainly. But
Lord
you don't
Cross
look it, Reggie.
doesn't say anything, but he turns and arches an eyebrow.
Ew.
Oh boy. Excellent. All right. So, y'all have been able to enter pretty smoothly. What do you want to do?
I want to get some of those tiny foods, and I want to get some of those champagne flutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to, get down and party. So this is the Icarus Club. We are looking for information on a particular individual.
Yeah, your informant through Lord Cross has let you know that this is a club that Barnabas was attempting to gain entry to for some reason. He kept when Tupper eavesdropped on Barnabas talking to somebody, he overheard him mention that he had been trying to get into this club.
Can you remind me who Barnabas is exactly?
Sure. Barnabas is the... you originally became aware of him because Xandra recognized his scent on some of the police files. And he was the one who had nicked some of the photos, the crime scene photos.
And it was his room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And then when Xandra talked to Scully about it, Scully said, yes, he is involved, but it's not what you think. He's the police are working with him in some capacity that Scully didn't fully understand. He hadn't been let in on all of the details, but he had been told that Barnabas was an informant of some kind. Scully's memories about Barnabas were confusing and seemed to have been altered. So this is that dude.
Okay. So I'm going to go about getting my snacks and drinks.
Excellent.
And
time for some snacks.
Finding a nook to settle up in to peer at everybody and do some people watching.
Excellent. All right, so I'll have you do a roll for that in a moment. I'm thinking mingle, but if you want to take a look and make an argument for something else, you're welcome to, and we'll come back to that in a second. Xandra or Lord Cross, what would you two like to do right now?
Go ahead.
Sniff for Barney.
Mm-hmm. All right, I will also have you do a roll for that, and we'll come back to that in a second. You can take a look at your skills and powers and let me know what you want to use. All right, Lord Cross, man of the hour.
I think that since I'm not entirely certain why Barnabas wanted to be here, and therefore I don't know precisely what I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to basically move from room to room and attempt to get a sense of what is there to understand and what is there to seek more deeply into.
Okay. I could see that possibly being a mingle role. Also, because this is somewhat second nature to you, you might also be able to talk me into something a little bit more focused, like a research role or something, if you have a reason to want to do that.
I think that mingle plays toward my strengths.
Cool. All right, so let's start with Reggie.
Okay, I will do my mingle roll. So that's going to be a 1d6.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a +1 for my whatever's on my sheet. Is that correct? Okay. I rolled a 6 anyway.
Well, then nothing to worry about. That is a great success. So yeah, you're just just tell me what makes this just absolutely top notch for Reggie.
I mean, it's just so easy to pick little bits off of plates that are passing by and taking a champagne flute here, chugging it down, placing it. Hey, hey, hey!
I'm almost imagining like that Quicksilver scene where we see from his perspective what it's like for him to just move through and, and just sort of sample a little bit of this and grab one of these. And that's sort of Reggie just like floating through this party like, you know what? This is my natural element. I've wondered what it was, and it
I
turns out
belong here.
I'm supposed to be here.
I need to be in all of these places.
So once Reggie has as many flutes as he can hold and a full little plate of tasty things, where does he set up? Where do you set up to do your noshing and watching?
I would say I'm going to find a corner near a doorway so that I can watch the people passing through said doorway.
Would you like that to be the doorway that leads out or a doorway that leads further in?
Deeper.
Deeper in. Cool. All right. Absolutely. You find a nice little settee. There are, a few other people who also seem to prefer to just kind of sit quietly, and they are delighted to see you kind of drift over, but they don't, they don't start a conversation because you haven't been formally introduced. And so, yeah, you're welcome to just sit down and keep an eye out. And we'll come back and see if you want to do something different or a roll to pick up some information in just a second. All right. Let's do Lord Cross's roll next.
Very well. I have a mingle of 2.
Okay.
Can I activate gear and use the fact that I am wearing particularly a fine outfit to allow me to blend and move without being noticed as somebody who does not fit?
Sure. Well, you fit here. Do you have unless you disagree?
I mean, I do. I'm just looking for I have a fine outfit, so I'm hoping that might get me the extra die. But
I see. I see.
I don't see that a small
sure.
blade.
Yeah,
or a
if you
light
want,
blocking
if you want
parasol are
to,
going to help me.
definitely, if you're willing to burn a gear slot for saying that you wore your extra fine suit, I will give you a bonus die for that.
So I see that, and I'm not sure quite how gear works. Then this particular thing, the light blocking parasol, the fine outfit, the small blade, they all count as gear, but there's no slot for them, right?
Oh, that's because you get that for free.
I see.
So right, because that's in your included gear. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an advanced position instead on your roll. So negative results from a lower roll will be reduced.
All right.
Because you're in especially nice clothes.
Very well. That I will be fine with. In that case, I have my mingle of 2, and I will take my modest mingle deeper into the establishment to see what
Excellent.
I can find.
So as you pass through the doorway, you and Reggie exchange a glance. And you head deeper into the Icarus.
Closer to the sun, as it were.
Indeed, flying ever so close.
I rolled a 1 and a 6.
Well, fortunately for that one, the 6 showed up, so we will be taking that. Yes, you are able to, you just, like a fish to water, you are just flowing through the scene here. You're able to pay the correct little social graces and obeisances as you move past various people. You're able to very quickly pick up, who's higher status in that circle, and so that's the person you incline your head to. Nobody looks up at all. You are seamlessly moving your way through.
Do I recognize anyone here?
Isn't that interesting that you would ask? Let's see. For a 6. You see someone. It's not so much that you recognize her per se, as the two of you
Yes.
recognize a certain truth about one another, if that makes sense.
All right. There's a woman in the club. Interesting.
Yes, indeed, and she is very finely dressed. There are, in fact, a few women in the club this evening. It seems to be a bit of a special event tonight, which may have had to do with the ease with which all of you got in,
Yeah,
despite not
because
being regulars.
isn't Xandra dressed as a lady? Didn't I dress her up in a super melty dress?
Yeah, she's in a very pretty dress
It's
as
in a
well.
dress. Very well.
hmm
Very well.
And
I'm a
so,
lady.
yeah, this is I know I referred to it last session as a gentleman's club, but it is a really just a high society club. It's not exclusively for men. Um, and tonight in particular, there seems to be a very mixed gender crowd. Um, and so there's this just opulently dressed woman in a deep burgundy red dress. You might even describe it as blood red, wearing dripping ruby jewelry. And by the time you notice her, she has already been looking at you. And so it's not so much that you catch each other's eye as you realize that she's been subtly watching you, and you're not sure for how long. Um, but when you see her, there is just she she stands out differently among the people here, and in a way that while it might be hard for Cross to describe exactly, you instantly realize is the same way that Lord Dorval stands out to you. She gives you a little smile as she sees you kind of realize what you now know about her and that she almost certainly knows about you. And she raises a little glass and gives the slightest inclination of her head to indicate that she would like to speak with you.
I will subtly make my way in her direction, and I can either uh, engage in conversation before or after we find out what happens with Sandra.
Mm-hmm. All right, Xandra, what are you going to roll for us?
I think this is a pursue roll.
Okay.
Since I am stalking and looking to ambush conversationally, eavesdrop.
Of course.
And that gets me a 1 and a 5.
Okay. So you are using your olfactory senses to see if you can smell Barnabas specifically?
Yeah.
Okay. And with a 5, I'm gonna say, just a moment. Just gonna look up. Ba-ba-bum. Okay. So that is a mixed success. You do the task, but you suffer reduced effect or a negative consequence. So yeah, he maybe these rich people wear so much perfume, like so much, and that's a little rough. So it kind of, like when you really take a full, snoot full of this, it's like when you tried to sniff Lord Cross's handkerchief. It's just, oh, there's a lot going on here, and most of it is cologne.
I didn't do that. No one saw me.
but not this time.
Whereas if you sniff me, it's like a breath of fresh air. You're just like, manure.
So biological. So that's interfering a little bit. And you also, there are other werewolves here. You smell some wolfiness. And again, this perfume is just, it's really making it hard to focus in on the individual smells, but you are pretty sure that you recognize at least a couple of these scent profiles. But you just can't, you're not sure who. But yeah, there's probably a Barnabas, and yeah, there's definitely some other wolfish. Or werewolves. We need to take a little AFK break for a moment.
Very well.
For Xandra.
Yeah.
Which is great, because that gives me a second to think about what the heck is going on at this club.
I'm going to take a few to use the restroom.
Oh, it's on top. Yeah, it's right there. Oh, yeah, please do. Yeah, why don't we just take a quick break since we're at 8? That's actually, that's perfect. We're just about at the hour mark anyway. So I'll go ahead and put us, I'm going to put myself on mute and stop cam. Yeah, let's go ahead and take 5. Or so, you know. All right, we'll be back in a minute or so. All right. Welcome back, crew. Okay. So, we've got Reggie situated very happily doing some people watching. Lord Cross has just discovered that he is not the only of his kind here at this party, and Xandra likewise now has at least caught a whiff of both our primary target as well as some other unexpected guests. Let's see. Reggie, is there anything else that you want to be doing right now? Are you happy noshing and sitting and watching the fancy rich folks going to and fro? Is there anything else that you want to be doing at the moment?
I was thinking of, scrutinizing the whole situation, but that's probably not necessarily necessary at this point. So no, I think we can move on.
Okay. So in that case, Reggie, while you're sitting there, how much does Reggie pay attention to celebrity culture in London? How much does he know about who some of the famous people in town are?
I'm gonna say not at all. Like, I don't know who the Duke is. I don't know who any of the royalties are. I don't even know who owns the farm thingy that I live on.
Right. Okay. So with that in mind then, you don't know who it is that everyone else has just gathered around and who is making a whole little crowd of people giggle and laugh and do little like, oh goodness, oh, what? You're so clever, so clever. But clearly somebody that even gets these folks excited has arrived at this party and
How
is
dare
moving
they
their way
outcharm
through.
me? How dare?
Uh-oh. Yeah, were you tossing some little charming comments to the people sitting sort of in your vicinity, or?
Oh, anytime somebody walked by, I was commenting on their outfit or their beautiful hair thingy that they had, or
Nice.
like, oh my goodness, that is such a lovely little like napkin you've got tucked away in your pocket. And I may have also been pickpocketing.
Excellent. Because of that 6, I'm going to let you get away with that for a second. Although at some point I may make you do a roll to see if you get
now that this like more enticing person has entered the room, I've stopped all of my shenanigans, and I'm just, who is that?
Excellent. All right. So are you? What does Reggie do? Do you want to approach? Do you want to observe for a little more? Are you gonna impulsively jump up and join the conversation?
I'm gonna wreck the. No, I'm just kidding. It would be really fun to wreck the situation, but I'm going to remember where I am and definitely go with my scrutinize roll at this point to figure out who is the middle of all this commotion.
Excellent.
I rolled a 5.
Okay. So
and I've got a plus 2 to scrutinize.
So you should have rolled 2d6, and we'll take the higher one.
Yeah, well, here we go. Second one. Yeah, we're gonna go with the 5.
Okay, sounds good. So that is again mixed success. So you see, you can kind of catch a glimpse without looking too desperate to, Reggie doesn't want to seem like like this is a big deal. So you're not looking too closely. But definitely able to kind of, like at a movie theater where people's heads are, you kind of find like the angle where you can see.
Yeah, or I
And
might meander by to get another crumpet or another flute.
totally,
And
yeah,
then be like,
perfect.
oh, that's who it is.
And you see a fellow with very lovely sort of shoulder length hair, a bit flowy. He has a very strong nose, a sort of middle-aged white guy who's clearly doing fairly well, dressed rather sumptuously, has a bit of a silk cravat and a nice brocade jacket, who is just throwing off little witticisms here and there, and you overhear one person say, "Oh, Oscar." All right. So we're going to hold for a moment there. So, Xandra, to clarify about the roll, the consequence was that you weren't able to place really the time of when Barnabas was here. You're not sure if he's here now or if he was here. And you also only got kind of a whiff of other werewolves. You really can't figure out even if you maybe recognize the specific individuals or not. So that was kind of the reduced effect of the role. So let's see. I'm going to jump over to Lord Cross for just a second, and then Xandra, let me know what you want to do with the information that you have so far. So, Lord Cross, you're approaching this woman. She, as she sees you kind of coming over towards her, she will turn and find you see her go through a curtain that it wasn't really clear that there was an entrance there. It's not there are the big open doors that are very clearly like inviting people into other rooms. She slips through a curtain that really, if you hadn't seen her go through it, you would have assumed was another one of the decorative curtains that Reggie was making fun of earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And as she passes through it, you see just the ever so slight, she's just holding it open barely an inch, but just you can see the tips of her fingers holding it open to indicate, yes, come through here.
I will pick up what she is putting down.
Excellent.
And step through the curtain myself.
Marvelous. Just what I hoped you would say. All right. So as you pass through, you see that this seems to be a little like sort of it's a smaller sitting area. There are some very comfy little couches. There's a low table with additional drinks and refreshments. And it seems like this is sort of like almost like a private box kind of space, And by the time you come through, she has already glided over, and she is sitting on one end of a red velvet couch, and she kind of vaguely gestures at the other seats and invites you to take one of them.
Very well. We appear to be alone in this room.
Indeed, it's just the two of you.
Yes, I will. I will take a seat. Perhaps the end of the couch that she is at is next to a table on the, at an angle to the couch, but certainly far enough away to be respectful. There may well be a place to sit.
Excellent. So you position yourself respectfully distant, but still close enough to be able to talk, because there's really nowhere in here that's not close enough to be able to talk. This is a very intimate setting.
Yes, but I would not be so forward as to put my knees anywhere near her knees.
Sure.
because oh my.
She smiles a little bit as she watches you make your quick calculations about the right place to sit, and as you do, uh, she grins, and you can see that she has vampire fangs, and she openly smiles and reveals them to you.
I will, incline my head ever so respectfully.
Ah, yes. Excellent. Then my intuition was correct. So I suppose you're the one that everyone's talking about, then.
I do believe that I once heard someone say that the only thing worse than being talked about was not being talked about.
You sound like another guest of this club this evening. But I suppose that's true.
Merely an aspirant.
Well, if he hasn't said it yet, don't worry. He will. She giggles a little bit. Um, and she's really like appraising you. She's kind of looking you up and down. And she says, yes. Yes, I can see why she's interested in you. Yes, indeed. Well, I'm sure you've already been informed if you're positioned as you seem to be. Surely you've... But no, you don't seem to... You haven't decided to fully join us yet, then, have you? You're still a bit unstable, are you?
I will admit that I am new to much of this.
Indeed. Well, if...
You are not?
No. Goodness, no. I suppose I should introduce myself, then.
As you wish, milady.
I don't have a name for her yet. I know who she is. Let's see. Let's call her. Let's see. What's a good high class Victorian woman's name? Let's call her. Oh, let's call her. Hortensia. I like it. Nice one, Josie. She says, I am Lady Hortensia. It is a pleasure to meet you, Lord Cross.
And I, you, Lady Hortensia. Or that's not how I would put it. And the pleasure is mine, Lady Hortensia.
Your manners are impeccable, sir. I'm sure that will hold you in good stead.
Do I recognize the name Lady Hortensia?
How much does Cross interact with, like, socialite high society?
I don't know, actually. I think that some, but that it was certainly not something he felt that he really had to worry about paying attention to while his older brother was still alive.
In that case, if you'd like to give me like a mingle or a research roll to try and search your memory of social gatherings and see if the name sounds familiar, you're welcome to. But without a pretty decent roll, I'm going to say the name doesn't necessarily ring a bell.
Well, let's aim for that decent roll. This is going to be a mingle because my research would involve me rolling 2 dice and taking the opposite result.
Okay.
And in this particular case, I got a 1 and a 2. I
All
guess
right.
we'll take
Yep.
the 2.
Yep. This name does not ring a bell. She's pretty. She seems cool. So, the Lady Hortensia, the two of you, chat back and forth a little bit, and she informs you that she is quite pleased to have been the one to have spotted you first, because ever since your preternatural speed tearing down the street the other night, um, the vampires of London have been just all abuzz about the new vampire high society member who is unafraid to show his powers out on the street. This is quite exciting and interesting to them. In particular, you've attracted the attention of the Lady Carmilla de Karnstein. And Lady Hortensia has, among the other members of Carmilla's coterie, had been tasked with keeping an eye out for this new high society vampire, and she's actually been going to a couple of the highest, the popular clubs over the last few nights, hoping to find you.
Someone's got a stalker.
So she wanted to pull you aside to introduce herself, to make sure that you knew that she was the one who spotted you first, so that when you do meet with Carmilla, as Carmilla has requested, in which you will certainly be doing, that you might mention to her that Lady Hortensia was the one who made this connection.
It would be churlish to do otherwise.
Well, we know how you like to stand on ceremony. She passes you a little card that has an address on it, and tells you that Carmilla awaits your letter of introduction. And she then offers, if you wish, I could certainly go and find an impressionable young thing here at the party and bring them back to this room for you if you're hungry.
I'm not sure that I want to admit how hungry I am. But seeing as how I rolled so poorly, I think I might accidentally let it slip.
How much stress do you have right now?
Just the one.
Okay.
But I
So,
also have the hungry condition.
You do have the hungry condition for sure. She sees you hesitate and she says, well, why don't you stay here for a while? You can think it over. Oh, they're always so conflicted at the beginning. It's almost charming. You are a sweet one, aren't you? Yes, indeed, I can definitely see what she sees in you. Oh. Well, I will be bidding you adieu for this evening, Lord Cross. I will check back in a little while. If you are still here, then perhaps I can assist with that hunger that I can tell is quite troublesome for you. It needn't be, you know. Anyway, I will take my leave. And she rises and gives a very subtle curtsy and then slips through the curtain and leaves you here to think about everything. All right, so Xandra.
Curtains instead of doors.
It's kindness for you, Xandra.
Do you see Lord Cross come back out of the curtain?
Sure, why not? Well, maybe not.
Oh, that's why I thought you were making the comment. That you were seeing people.
I saw Fancy Lady come out.
Oh, fair, yeah, okay.
I saw Lord Cross shake
Oh yeah,
his
because
head.
Cross hasn't come back out yet, right? So yeah, you have an indication, Xandra, that that The Barnabas, yeah, something has been here.
I'm stumped. I don't know if I want to go poking around for werewolves.
Okay. Do you want to hold and think about it for a sec?
Yeah, I guess she's just hanging out, keeping an eye on. So maybe, I don't know, scrutinizing the party,
Okay.
looking for trouble or anything
Sure.
out of order. Just
Sure.
going back to cop instincts.
Do you want to do a roll for that?
Sure. Yeah, got a 5 and a 6.
Okay, we will take that 6. All right, that's a much better result for you. Let's see. So, when you decide to focus on scanning visually rather than just focusing on the smells, you start to notice that, hey, wait a second. An awful lot of these people who are carrying the trays are moving in an organized, you might even say pack-like formation. There is definitely a pack-like organization going on among not all of the service staff, but some key members. And they don't look immediately familiar to you, but that could be because they're so darn clean and dressed up in very nice formal wear. But you think you've now identified these are the Wolvie Wolves that you've been smelling. They seem to be working this party.
Of course, we're the help. Do they seem to be? They're using the same kitchen and everything. They're just like a.
Yep, you see them disappearing into the back, and there seems to be a food prep area in the very back of the club. Yeah.
They're just like a cell within the servers, or to the kitchen.
All right. All right. So as Xandra heads to the kitchen, Reggie.
So Xandra's sniffing out some sausages in the kitchen. And
Yeah.
I think I might try to eavesdrop a bit more with this Oscar fellow.
Okay.
Because I'm very curious to know, like, why? Just why?
For sure. So, I mean, for free, I'll tell you, you're hearing a lot of people praising his latest show. You hear a lot of people who are referencing his writing. This seems to be, and theater stuff is coming up a lot. The people who are talking to him seem to be, theater folks, people say, oh, well, Oscar, as you know, the life of the theater is, and they're all kind of trying to impress him with their own cleverness and stuff. And he's being just incredibly magnanimous. Why don't you give me a roll to see if there's anything more that you can glean from this? How close are you at this point? How close has Reggie moved in?
I think I've managed to swoop in pretty closely at this point without drawing his attention, just because, like, I blend in so well.
you super blend.
So am I taking 1 die or 2?
What are you gonna roll?
Which action? I don't know. Let's see.
If you,
I would actually really like to know how Oscar ties into the grander scheme of things. So I guess that's going to be more of a scrutinize thing still.
Yeah, you could do a scrutinize, or you could do a mingle roll if you wanted to, like, maybe see if you could strike up conversation with someone else.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of,
Ask them about...
you could even do like a steer roll if you wanted to kind of try and steer a conversation in that direction. There are a couple of different ways we could go about this.
Yeah, okay. So let's say that I grab the attention of one of the people that's been really just fawning wildly over Oscar, and I
Nice.
want to steer the conversation into getting them to tell me everything they know.
Sure thing.
So that's going to be steer. I've got a 1 in steer.
All right, so you'll roll 2d6 and take the lower one. Or no, with 1 dot, you'd roll 1d6 and just take that result. 0
All right.
dots would be 2, take the lower.
Well, I rolled a 6.
Well. So absolutely, there's a sort of a very theatrical seeming gentleman who has been just praising him, and in particular thanking him for all of our successes, so that you're like, okay, this seems like someone who knows what's up, and you're able to just kind of slide up and you join that conversation. And as you're chatting with this fellow, you find out that, oh yes, Mr. Wilde, he is the star of the Doyley Cart Theater. This man isn't he magnificent, Mr. Wilde? We just think he's wonderful. Mr. Doyley, very nice to meet you. And you are?
Oh, I'm Reggie. I don't. I'm Reggie Hardy, and I'm just very fabulous.
And he's charmed by this like first name basis kind of thing. He's oh, you're so eccentric. This is so fun. You must come by the theater sometime. Here. And he hands you a couple of comp tickets.
I would be delighted to. Thank you.
And he's just cavelling all over the place about Mr. Wilde and how delighted he is to have him, writing scripts for us. It's just, isn't he just the absolute most? Well, I'm sure as a man of the theater, you understand, of course, the fascination and absolute delight.
Undoubtedly, of course.
There's just something about him, he's just got and as he's talking, you realize that Mr. Doyley seems to be under a bit of a fey glamour.
Ah.
He seems to have been charmed a little bit. You can kind of
I might see like a sparkle around him, like, oh, that's a weird sparkle.
He's got those particular starry eyes that really only happen when someone is really been swayed by, well, to this point, I mean, you really only by you. You've only seen this as a result of something that you can do.
Ah. Well, then I know that there's a few more fae around here, don't I?
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Okay.
Beautiful. All right. We're going to probably roll that 6 over into whatever you do next, but we will come back to that in just a moment. What are you thinking, Xandra?
Heading to the kitchen.
Oh, yes. Heading to the kitchen. Thank you for the reminder. Excellent. All right. So you get to the door of the kitchen. How far do you want to go?
All the way.
You're going to go into the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay. As if
I'm not wearing fancy dress at all.
Yeah, because
fancy clothes.
One of the guests in a really fey glamour lovely level of dress has just tried to enter the kitchen.
Yeah. I think she pushes in with the authority of a cop.
It's a fey glamour outfit that changes to the circumstance, so maybe as soon as Xandra walks through those doors, it changes into a kitchen outfit.
Ooh, is that what it does?
No,
I'll say you kind of feel like the clothes ask you if they want you to do that, if that makes sense, but they also let you know that it's kind of tiring to do so they might not be able to hang out for the full hour. But if you want us to look like that, we could do that for you, ma'am.
And you know what? I totally misread the playbook. It's half an hour.
But I think Reggie said you've got an hour.
I think he probably did. In that case, let's see. How long have we been in here? Okay. I'm going to say the clothes say, we've got about half of our energy left, but if you want to look like kitchen clothes, we could probably do that for 10 more minutes. That's about all we have, ma'am. We're so sorry.
I'm not trading a half hour for 10 minutes.
Well, because it's already been about 15, so.
I know, but
Yeah.
she's thinking she's got a half hour.
But
she's got 45 minutes
right.
left or something.
Right. They might tell.
That's
I think the suit says, otherwise, we can hold for the remaining 15 minutes.
I think really Sandra's just befuddled, like,
why are my clothes talking to me?
Right? Like, this isn't happening.
Fair.
Fucking fey magic and it's fucking weird, creepy shit.
Last time I let Reggie dress me.
Stop it.
The constable glamour is one thing, but this is really just too far. So are you telling the clothes, no, stay as you are,
Yeah.
but we are going in the kitchen. All right. I'm going to have you give me a mingle roll for that. I want to see how well you can pull this off, especially since you said you're going in kind of cop-like.
Not well at all.
Not well at all.
2d6. I got a 6 and a 4, and we're taking the 4.
Because you have 0 in mingle?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, a 4 is not great. So fortunately for you, the people on the inside of the kitchen, they don't care. As long as you stay out of their way, like, they're not, but the people outside the kitchen, the other guests, really notice this. This is a very weird breach of etiquette, and and a lot of attention has just been drawn to you. So as you come into the kitchen, and you're still coming in kind of like with cop authority, like, all right, I'm just here to kind of see what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as you get through that door, and there's a little bit of like a French door separator. As soon as that kind of closes behind you, you are suddenly kind of swept over to one side by 3 coordinated service staff members. Who you recognize as ones that, and especially now that you're away from a lot of the expensive perfume, you recognize from your previous scrutinize, as well as you smell fellow wolves.
Okay. But they're not my pack.
No, they are not. And they sweep you over to the side and say, "What are you doing? You can't come in here.
What are you doing here?
You're going to blow your cover." What? Wait. What do you mean, what are we doing here? Aren't you part of... Didn't your pack send you?
She's not a good liar, so there's no smooth coming from that.
That's totally understandable. And they don't have any reason to keep... They pull you over the side and they're like, because tonight, the meeting of the white fellas here meeting with the representatives from all of the packs. What? You're not... But you're from one of her... What?
I'm looking for a murderer. Goes by the name of Barnabas.
Okay. And they kind of, well, that's what? I don't know. What was, well, okay.
He's probably
what do you
human.
Need?
You seen in it?
Of course he's human. So murderer named Barnabas is who you're looking for. Okay, what does he smell like?
I'll describe that.
Yeah, I mean, you can, basically.
Yeah.
You can kind of give like a general description, and they kind of look at each other and they're like...
2 parts stale brandy, 1 part cheap silk.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that describes a lot of our clientele, but um, yeah, we've been
A
smelling him around here too.
little bit of Flophouse. Not much of that around here.
Hmm. Hmm. With a 4, they're also not really sure. They recognize what you're talking about, but they're like, I don't I don't know how to help you there. We're just here as security duty for White Fell, so we haven't really been keeping a
I
nose out for Flophouse people at Club Icarus.
moves around in high society. Do I know
Well, you
Whitefell?
do indeed. Whitefell is the leader of the werewolf faction in London, and your pack is close with hers.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for your help.
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep a snout out. Just
You
I don't. We have to get you back out of here subtly.
you
You can't draw
have
this much attention to yourself.
do you have any food back here that's not covered in some of that fancy goop they've got out front?
Oh yeah, come here. And they bring you to the meat locker and tell you, yeah, help yourself.
Okay. Get a sausage.
Nice, yeah.
Reggie was right.
Of course they am.
All right, Lord Cross, how are you doing?
I am brooding, as the bitten are wont to do.
Indeed. Lady Hortensia comes back and takes a look in through the curtain very, very discreetly. Does she find you still here?
She does.
All right. Um, she kind of gives a very subtle little cough to indicate that she's curious if you want to talk more. And then she stands outside the curtain, sort of leaning one shoulder against it, allowing just the barest amount of her shoulder to peek through the curtain. She's got like a mesh dress, so there's some skin showing.
What do your sort want with me?
Ah, he has questions. She slips through the curtain and goes back to sitting where she was sitting before, but ever so slightly closer to you. A human would never have noticed that she's closer, but you do. She sits down and says, "My sort. You mean our sort? You're on your way. Don't worry. I have faith in you. You seem perfect for this life. Don't worry, it'll all begin to make sense. The farther along the path you go, the clearer it becomes. Now, after that clarification, as to your question itself, it is not so much what we want from you, it's what we want for you. We want to welcome you properly. You haven't even had a welcoming party. This sort of rebirth deserves a rebirthday party. We love to throw them. Honestly, we're a little hurt that you didn't come and ask. Who is your sire, by the way? We weren't really sure. We couldn't quite figure that part out.
I'd like to try to steer away from answering that, if I may.
Nice. Absolutely, you can try.
Simply because I don't know whether that particular
Right?
information is to whom that particular information is valuable.
Yeah.
So shall I make a roll?
Yeah, make a steer roll for me.
It's a pity that bribery jewelry doesn't seem to be useful.
Yeah, that would be a weaker move, I think. She's already got much nicer jewelry on.
Oh yes, indeed. I'm just gagging for anything that will move me from a 2 to a 3 dice, but that's all right.
Sure.
Oh, there we are. A 6 and a 2.
Okay. So what angle do you go at? Do you pretend that you don't know? Do you say, oh, I woke up with a sore neck and a whole new set of cravings, or are you demure about it?
I'm going to be demure, and then I'm going to aim for an innocuous question that will allow her to puff herself up.
Nice.
Without actually seeking information.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, stroking her ego.
Sure. So you're kind of playing the like, oh gosh, I just don't really know anything.
I am just a babe in the woods here.
Nice. Yeah, she on a 6, she will absolutely take that bait, and not
Poor
even
lost
particularly.
little lamb.
Indeed.
Alone.
She eats this up, and it doesn't even seem to be suspicious about you steering away from the conversation about who sired you. You make her kind of let go of that by dangling something far more interesting and exciting, which is basically kind of offering yourself as a new protege. And she really like leans in with interest when she picks up that that you're just looking to learn, and oh, I know that my position probably makes it seem like I know so much, and yet in this new world, this new identity, this new gift, I am so naive. And she seems to really soften to that. And she says, "My goodness, you see," she leans forward, and her smile becomes softer, like she kind of softens towards you, and says, "It is confusing at first. I understand, and it's true. The human understanding of privilege and luxury, you will soon be able to see just how limited their understanding of the real opportunities in this city are. But I would be absolutely delighted to continue to be your acquaintance, and perhaps a bit of a social guide, shall we say. And of course, if I'm able to assist and you were to share that with the Countess, well, please do not hold back on account of worrying about embarrassing me." She makes it really, really clear that she's also very interested in using you as a stepladder for her own social advancement, which, yeah.
By which I am not entirely certain that I am anybody's stepladder for advancement, but
Well,
I'll certainly take it in as information.
because you are specifically desired by the Countess, that
So
makes
she
you
says, yes.
the new hot commodity, right? And you also, as she softens, she kind of, the 6 gets her to let her guard down just enough with you that you kind of get the sense that maybe she's not as centrally positioned as she first kind of led on. That she may have been sort of artificially inflating her standing with you to encourage you to write a letter of introduction. But that she actually, her position itself might be a bit tenuous. Um, it's just a hunch, but that 6 gets you that hunch.
right, very cool.
All of that being said, babe lost in the woods, have you considered my offer of refreshment?
I'm not sure that I fully understand.
Well, you know what we require. There are people who are willing to give us what we need if we can provide them with what they want. It's a willing exchange. It's not accosting people in alleys in Whitechapel, but it's more dignified, it's more sophisticated. It's a mutual thing. They can tolerate quite a bit actually before succumbing, and there's no need to take it that far.
I'm going to Cross will look a bit perplexed and uncertain. And
She leans in a. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I want to.
She notices your perplexity and your hesitation, and she leans forward and says, I am so sorry, little lamb. I forget. You are not used to the euphemistic speech of vampire high society just yet. Do you understand what it is that we are talking about? You may speak plainly. You will not shock or disappoint me.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid you have the advantage of me.
Have you been overcome by your hunger yet, little lamb? Have you perhaps bitten anyone yet?
No.
Ah, then you do not know. The thing that you are hungry for, the thing that nothing else will satisfy, is blood. We require blood. Oh, poor thing. This is what happens. This is what happens when people are brought in without a community to come into. Oh, goodness.
If you'll excuse me.
Nice.
And then, hoping she assents, then I will...
She absolutely does.
I will back out of the room.
You are free to go at any time, little lamb. You have the card that I gave you. The only strong request I make is that you do write a letter of introduction. Carmilla very much looks forward to meeting you.
And then I will fade out of the small room and into
Nice.
the larger light.
All right. So as you come back out, you see Reggie making just absolute waves of conversation with the gentleman that he has met over kind of close to a group of what you, Lord Cross, probably recognize pretty well as theater aficionados and theatrical types who are doing what they always do at every party, which is they have found their way over to the little piano fort and they are singing at this point. And Reggie is chatting up this fellow, and they seem to be having a grand old time. Which the guy you're talking to?
Yes.
That's Mr. Doily. And I'll put his spelling in the chat for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. And he is one of the two owners of the Doily Cart Theater.
As I approach the door to the larger chamber, I will attempt to catch Reggie's eye.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I'll just probably like take a pause from Mr. Doily.
Totally.
To the front. I will nod meaningfully to the front door.
Cross is done. He is done for the night.
But what about Xandra? Has
Indeed.
Xandra come back out from the kitchen yet?
Yeah, let's hop over to Xandra. This is a great place to kind of pull the crew back together a little bit here.
Oh yeah, Xandra has a completely low-key exit strategy planned.
Great.
Won't raise
Tell
any
me all about
suspicions at all. Essentially kicks open the kitchen doors and says, I will be speaking to your employer. You will never work in London again.
Amazing.
And
Okay.
before she's, before Reggie or Cross intercept, she's intent on like storming off to find her pack. But they may stop her.
Excellent. Okay. So as soon as the door opens back into the main area, the wolves in the kitchen retreat out of sight. At this point, you are on your own. Like, if you've decided to do this, they're not going to intervene, and they're certainly not going to get dragged into it. Because they are here. They are on the clock. They are working right now. And they have one job, and it's not this. So on the other hand, I'm going to have you do a roll. I'm thinking a steer, but you might be able to talk me into mingle. In order to see if you can perform this well enough that the people just outside who were like, why is she going in the kitchen, will now just be sort of charmed by your eccentricity. Or if this display actually pushes things over and they really, it might even generate some heat for you depending on how this roll goes.
I'll definitely take steer.
Okay. So you're trying to steer this to look like a just kind of hopefully that this will play off as like, and tomorrow they'll be telling their other friends who weren't at Club Icarus last night about, and then this amazingly eccentric woman that I've never seen before went into the kitchen. I know, but then she came back out yelling something about knowing their employer. I don't know. It was very exciting. On the other hand, if it goes poorly, what they're going to be talking about is this absolutely brash, horrible woman pushed her way into the kitchen and then came out yelling and absolutely destroyed the mood of the entire evening. I had to retire early. I was so upset.
Oh, this goes smooth. And she even adds, how dare you lay your hands on a woman's petticoat? And I get a 1, but also a 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Everyone is staring at you now. And not in a good way.
Probably the, Cockney stage show, look on her face like, oh, this performance was top notch.
And they're all just kind of like...
Have a banana.
Just waiting for them to, the accolades.
In fact, it has gone so silent in this room that the only sound is the piano fort and the theater kids in the next room who have no idea what's going on in here and are still singing raucous, would it be vaudeville? Anyway, music hall songs.
And Oscar emphasizing the end of a bon mot.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Writing his own little flourishes to the ends of lines and things. Do
I don't know. The consequence of my dress giving up the ghost might be appropriate.
I like it. All right. Yep. And what clothing were you wearing that Reggie put a glamour on?
Um, Probably. Well, I don't know if there any weight to it. Is it just kind of an illusion, glamorous illusion, or
I mean, it would have been like a glamour on whatever clothes you were currently wearing, and then the
okay?
effect fades away or melts away, or where you're not going to end up naked. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah.
and I didn't have to be in my skivvies. So yeah, basically, yeah, working class street clothes,
Yep. So as you
trousers and a dirty jacket.
yeah. Yeah, so this is definitely part of the confusion and definitely the heat. Um because at that point, yeah, we're definitely they are witnessing magic, and that is upsetting to humans, it turns out. Um, so as you push your way through that back room, and they just part in front of you, no one is going to be anywhere near you. The dress kind of melts off of you and puddles in the floor, looking sort of like a pool of mercury that then kind of slips through the floorboards, and you are left in your standard street clothes, and everyone's just, and at that point they all just kind of turn away from you. Even it's just like, so do you head towards the front?
Uh, Probably. Do I notice
Okay.
this happen too?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be looking to exit, maybe back to the kitchen, unless I see Reggie and Cross. Try to find a rear entrance exit.
um let's let's have Reggie and Cross make a couple of rolls and see if they notice you. See if they notice the other room go deadly quiet with one very familiar voice yelling at the top of her lungs. Um, this won't be a very difficult roll, honestly.
Hmm. Hark! I hear a friend.
Right?
So what are we rolling for that? Is that going to be
Yeah.
like a scrutinize?
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
Okay, so I've got a 2 in that, so it's 2d6.
Yes.
Bloop, bloop. Take the higher, which is 3.
Okay. And how about for you, Cross?
I would love to. I would love to try and misdirect.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds like a steer, perhaps?
Yeah, because I'm gonna
Or-
I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead and say, Cross, you do hear this. Because of your heightened senses.
mm-hmm.
Uh
And
you're
I
well
want to.
aware of what just happened in the next room.
I want to roll in and dominate the situation in such
Nice.
a way um, that whatever just happened was perhaps confusing and distressing, but not particularly understandable
Okay.
or connected to anyone in particular.
Beautiful. Yeah, give me a dominate roll.
All right. I also have mesmerizing. If I make eye contact with a human target for a few
Mm-hmm.
moments, they become mesmerized. So, um,
Nice. Yeah.
and then, yes, let us dominate, or attempt to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 4 and a 5.
Okay. And a 5. Okay. Um so yeah, you roll into the back room and immediately exude a bit of an air of authority here. Now, tell me again. I'm sorry. What angle you're coming at for changing the narrative in the back room here?
Uh, Certainly this, whatever is happening, it is highly unusual and certainly very weird, but it's all very confusing and not particularly, connected with any particular person. It just
Nice,
seems
got it,
that,
right.
I don't know, maybe an animal got into the kitchen and now they're all freaking out.
Nice. Okay, okay. So just kind of, yeah, nobody saw who that was. Gosh, that was weird, right? But like, wasn't really anything specific. Not certainly nothing you'll remember later.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
Precisely.
Very cool. All right. So, your highest was a 4 or
A 5.
a 5. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, I'm going to have you take some stress as a consequence. But
Very
you
well.
are able to, you kind of steel yourself, and you're able to just basically kind of mesmerize the room. All of the humans in that little area, who are all just kind of like, ugh, all of a sudden are all very much listening to you and agreeing with you and saying, yes, that was strange, wasn't it? That was
Powered
very
by
odd,
the
but
Lord in the room.
goodness, no idea, no idea. I'm gonna have you
Oh.
take 2 stress to do
All
that.
right, that brings me from 1 to 3. Oh my.
Okay. Oh my. Excellent. At which point do you hastily sweep Xandra out? Are the two of you gonna head towards the front room and try to
Indeed,
skedaddle?
yes.
What's the plan here? Yeah.
That is
Xandra, are you
my
cool with
thinking.
going along with that, or? Hmm.
Mostly, you see there's fight in her eyes, and she struggles a bit, but she'll go.
All right. All right, and these two roll up on Reggie.
I will bow deeply to my new friend, Mr. Doily, and be like, all right, I bid thee adieu. I will see you at the theater.
Nice. And the three of you sweep out into the night. Your private coach is fortunately parked very nearby, still waiting for you since you hired it for the entire evening. And so the three of you are able to load into that and flee into the evening before anybody really catches on what happened. And later in the evening, we see just a little, vignette of the porter who has handed out all of the other coats, but there's this one like just kind of dingy, like workman's coat and hat that they definitely don't remember taking, but it's just hanging among the other coats, so they just kind of, I don't know, offer it to someone on the street. They're like, that's weird. Can't keep these here, that's for sure. And
Somebody who's cold can make use of these.
and that is where we will end for this evening. So we will start next time in downtime, and figure out what y'all want to do from the consequences of this very exciting mission.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
My only consequence is I made a new friend.
Reggie had a lovely evening. Like, awesome. I appreciate you so much. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you so much for playing.
Indeed, good fun. Thank you.
It's so delightful being like this little grungy grunge person and then just being like, hello!
You got so fancy tonight. It's amazing.
He's so
Oh, theater!
fancy.
That makes one of us.
Hey, I tried. I just forgot the time limit on that dress thingy. My bad.
It's true.
It's been a while since I had to play dress up with that
All
one.
right. Well, thank you again to my players.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, I'm gonna end the recording here.